Minister of Education, Ms. Glennis Hannah Martin, Minister of State, Mr. Zane Lightbourne, Permanent Secretary, Ms. Lorraine Ambrista, Director of Education, Dr. Marcellus Taylor, Deputy Directors, Mrs. Sharon Poitier, Mr. Julian Anderson, and Ms. Charmaine Sinclair, a pleasant good morning. I am your moderator for this morning, Ms. Monique Brainin, Guidance Counselor attached to the Employee Assistance Program. Our theme for our second annual virtual Teachers Conclave is Shifting Paradigms, Embracing Change and Innovation in Education. It is certainly an exciting time to be an educator. Nelson Mandela stated, and I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." Educators, we are indeed living in a time when our only constant is change, and change we must for ourselves, our families, and our communities, and indeed our nation. Let us now stand in honor as Ms. Yasmin Newbold, Senior Mistress attached to Sandilands Primary, comes to lead us in the national anthem and pledge, followed by the invocation from Ms. Alexis Wildgoose, teacher at C.W. Sawyer Primary School.
I pledge my allegiance to the flag and to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, for which it stands, one people, united in love and service.
A pleasant good morning, colleagues across the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Let us pray. Father God in heaven, you know all things, and we come before you this morning asking you to guide us throughout this school year, dear God. As we stand under an open heaven, dear God, we ask that you go before us as you have gone behind us and around us. We ask that you send your angels to encamp us, dear God. Send down Raphael for healing and Michael to fight for us, dear God. As we go through this season, we ask that you plead your blood over the minds of the teachers, the hearts of the teachers, the minds of the children, the hearts of the children and their parents and other staff members alike. Dear God, we ask that this be, if not the most most productive year yet, the precursor to the most productive year yet, dear God. We know there have been challenges. We know we have had struggles, but dear God, we know you stand in the midst of all things, and you are God. You are all-knowing, all-powerful, and you are the person that carries us through life, dear God. So we take this moment, dear God, just to say thank you. Thank you for protection. Thank you for healing. Thank you for keeping us underneath your wings, dear God. And we ask that you continue to bless us with your favors and your mercies, dear God. Continue to carry us through the seasons of our life. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. Thank you, Mrs. Wild Goose. I do feel blessed. And of course, Mrs. Newbold for leading us in the national anthem and pledge. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Coming to give us a warm welcome and bring remarks is a man, if he is ever panicked, we will never know it. Lou Tao says, leadership is the capability to panic and not allow others to know it. Let us welcome a true leader in the person of Dr. Marcellus Taylor.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Minister Glennis Hannah Martin, Honorable Minister of State, St. Lightburn, Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Lorraine Brister, other senior colleagues here at headquarters, and school administrators and teachers all across the Bahamas, good morning. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome you to the beginning of this new academic year. This new academic year that follows a 2-year period that was by no stretch of the imagination the toughest 2 years in which to deliver education ever. We know that it was a difficult time, but we are so grateful and happy that we were able to pass through those 2 years. Not unscarred, not completely without any deficits, but we made it through. And we made it through because of the hard work of so many of you, the dedication of so many of you, the commitment of so many of you. Now we've had a nice break over the summer, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that you use that time to do 2 very important things. First and foremost, to rest and recreate, because as humans, we always need to spend time in resting and recreating ourselves. We are not machines, and so although we work hard, we also must make time for rest, and we must care about our well-being. And so I hope you had opportunities to do that. Another R word that I hope you had the opportunity to do is to reflect. Reflect on what the 2 years meant for us, the trials, the tribulations, but more importantly, the lessons learned, and how those lessons that we have learned, even though the circumstances around the learning may not have been ideal, nonetheless, those lessons being applicable to moving us forward as we continue to provide quality education for the children of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And so, here we are at the beginning of a new year. A new year, no doubt, with new challenges, hopefully not the ones we had in COVID-19. One thing you will learn as you move through life, I'll say this especially for the new teachers, is that once you slay one dragon, the next one comes. But as we go through, hopefully we will get better at it. And so we'll not only see them as challenges, but see them as opportunities to do what we do even better. That we will use all the skills and knowledge that we have learned over the past to help us to make the future brighter and better. And I would argue, and I would suggest, and I will even recommend to all of us that one of the keys to it is to identify the best practices and to collaborate with one another. And in this collaboration, colleagues, I believe that we, as we have shown in the past, we have and we will continue to be successful in whatever arena we find ourselves, especially in the arena of education. So again, on my behalf and behalf of all of my colleagues at the Department of Education, and of course on all here, we wish you a successful academic year. We welcome you back, and I'm sure that all of you are looking forward to doing your own welcoming of the students as they return fully face-to-face in this new academic year of 2022-2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor, for those words of welcome. Music unlocks self-expression, intelligence, and creativity in all of us. Music is to the soul what words are to the mind. Let us once again welcome Ms. Yasmin Newbold with a musical selection. Please give her a virtual round of applause.
Every breath that
Indeed, all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. What a beautiful rendition sung by Miss Newbold. I sing it the same way in my head, just not out loud. Thank you, Miss Yasmin, for that beautiful song. William Arthur Ward, an American author, wrote, and I quote, "Leadership is based on inspiration, not domination, on cooperation, not intimidation. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality." Coming now with remarks and to introduce our visionaries is none other than our own illustrious Permanent Secretary, Ms. Lorraine Ambrister.
Good morning, Madam Chair. The check is in the mail. So I just want to say thank you very much for those kind remarks. And I just want to say, well, we'd like to first acknowledge the presence of the Minister of State and the Director, and of course our Deputy Director, Ms. Poitier. But my goodness, how wonderful it is to be here today when we finally have reached this really good point in our education sector and what we have to look forward to in the future. Certainly when I arrived here in June of 2018, I could not have imagined what we would have gone through since that time. We had a hurricane in the south, then we had Hurricane Dorian, then we had the COVID-19 pandemic, Director, Ms. Poitier. So I arrived here and I say, wow, you know, just a couple years left to retirement. This is a smooth couple of years. Boy, did I did I have a very nice awakening. But certainly in the first instance, I want to say thank you, first of all, thank you so much to the teachers, the administrators, the educators who've been in the trenches, and the parents who've been in the trenches as we've gone through these very difficult times. You have been just simply outstanding and wonderful, and it is so good to know that we're going back to full face-to-face finally. We had that opportunity in August of 2018 when I arrived, and then ever since then we've had a bit of a inconsistent way forward. So I just want to say in the first instance to all of the persons online and all of the parents and everybody who's listening, thank you so much for all you have done. Teachers and educators and professionals, you are really the backbone of this country, and I say thank you. And my second task this morning is to, of course, to introduce the Minister of State and the Minister Hannah Martin. And let me just say first that the Minister of State, Minister Lightman became known to me when I joined and when I returned to the Ministry of Education in June of 2018. And I soon discovered that he was somebody who we could rely on greatly. Certainly, we didn't move too many steps without his advice in respect of union activities. When we had Hurricane Dorian, he led the stadium renewal project to get all the children from Abaco and Grand Bahama resettled, and I relied on his advice to a great extent. So I know the level of competence which Minister Lightburn brings to the table. So thank you, Minister Lightman, for all you have done to enhance the sector, and it's good to have somebody who was an educator, who knows when we speak, who knows of what we speak, but not just an educator, but who was an educator in the system. So thank you, Minister Lightman. Of course, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin has been known to me since many years ago, 40 plus years ago, when we both joined the Ministry of Education. And we both worked in what was then known as the personnel section. It wasn't even sophisticated enough to be known as HR. And so I've known Minister Hannah Martin for 40 plus years, and certainly she's always impressed me as a person of extreme diligence and extreme competence. She's an attorney by profession, but she is a consummate public officer as well. She's a politician, but she's also a public officer because she was initially a public officer. So Minister Hannah Martin is very much aware of the things which need to be done. She has achieved great things in her political career, and certainly as a woman in politics, she's achieved a great deal. And she's come to the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training with great enthusiasm enthusiasm and great passion and great concern for the people of the Bahamas, and particularly for our beloved Engliston. So without further ado, I invite you to accept in the first instance Minister Lightburn, who will bring remarks, and then Minister Glenys Anna Martin will join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, PS. Minister says the check is in the mail, but I couldn't afford what Minister affords. We are not the same in that aspect. Well, good morning, all, and thank you so much for that very kind introduction, PS. I stand on the established protocol, recognizing also our very capable Mistress of Ceremonies and our Minister of Education, our dynamic Minister of Education, leader of this great thing we call education, and technical and vocational training, the Permanent Secretary, Director, and Deputy Director Poitier. It is with pleasure and gratitude that I speak to you today as a proud former teacher and now proud in the role that I have as Minister of State. For more than 3,000 of you who choose to be teachers and play special roles in the lives of our children to help develop our nation, we thank you. We know that most of you could have chosen more lucrative careers, but I say thanks that you choose and that you have chosen a career in education, and we know how rewarding that can be, and we are adding more tangible rewards to our profession, as you know. It is a choice not to be taken lightly. Thank you for your service, your dedication, your positive molding in the minds of our Bahamian children, the future. This new school year offers much more hope, for it is the first time in 3 years that we are confidently opening with students once again on campuses with face-to-face instructions, though COVID-19 is still with us. I say thanks to the teachers, as we would not be this far had it not been for your service, your resilience in the face of COVID-19. You adapted quickly when the pandemic resulted, and in the suspension of face-to-face instructions, you were able to deliver quality education. Teachers quickly learned to teach virtually. It was because of our teachers that our educational system did not break. We made the paradigm shift almost seamlessly just because of you. And even though COVID-19 exacted a blow, you persevered. These days are moving quickly. So too are things in life. What was new just yesterday is now replaced by new innovations. This fits your theme, shifting paradigms, embracing change and innovation in education. Technology is driving this change, and I encourage teachers all across our nation to reinvent yourselves and embrace the changes that you will encounter in your daily lives. As the Minister of State tasked with driving our technical and vocational training goals, I can tell you that it is becoming the center and the core of our educational system and systems like ours all across the globe. Today's students must have technological competency as their daily lives and our daily lives demands it. And though life has shown us that not every academically gifted child is tech savvy, on the flip side, every child has the capability to become skilled in a trade. This new school year offers opportunities to our ministry to find the students who dropped out of school, who were sporadic in their attendance, and to assure that they are back in the classroom. Many of those children have the opportunity to grasp lessons through vocational training. We are challenged this year to bridge the educational divide and mitigate the learning loss. Our nation needs this remedy. Our future demands it. To all teachers, whether you teach math, science, social studies, I ask that you become cognizant that you are teaching the next generation of Bahamians, our leaders, our innovators, our entrepreneurs. Teach each of them that they are valued. Pour positively into their lives. Affirm them, guide them, shape them into being the 21st century student equipped to compete, not just here in the Bahamas, but globally. You see, we truly believe that every child counts, and I implore teachers to keep this motto front and center when you face a class of students. Each child matters, and each child is different, and your influence in their lives matters greatly in their growth, development, and approach to life. Teachers, when it comes to education and lives many other professions, be it doctor, lawyer, plumber, or data analysis, or data analyst, you are the salt of the earth. You are the ultimate influencer as an educator. Your input in your students' lives are profound. More and more each day, as society undergoes major shifts, teachers are still the go-to, the anchor, the stable factor in many of our children's lives. As a former teacher, I offer these tips, which I acquired in my 22-year teaching career. Be professional in all that you are, the way you dress, your language, your actions. Collaborate with fellow teachers who have their students' best interests at heart. Adopt their best practices and create your own. Communicate. This includes listening. Let us have a very successful school year. May God bless you all and continue to bless our beautiful Commonwealth. Good morning and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. I thank the Minister of State for those words of wisdom to all of us. And I wish to thank our moderator, who has so ably managed these proceedings. And I wish to recognize the Permanent Secretary, the Director, the Deputy Director, D.D. Poitier, our technical team, who are helping to facilitate these online proceedings, and of course to all of the teachers who are joining us throughout this beautiful archipelago. I am grateful for this opportunity to address you on the first day of this conclave as you prepare to return to the classrooms nationwide. You do so at a challenging time in education and at a challenging time in our nation. We are called, however, for a time such as this. It is no accident that we are all here at this time, and I don't believe in accidents. For myself, I have pledged to the Almighty that I will give my all. I do not have the luxury of listening to the noise in the market or being distracted. Education is the route by which we can transform our nation. Teaching is not simply a job or even simply a profession, although it is also those things. It is a vocation, a special calling. Teachers touch the intangibles of our humanity. In our children, they stimulate the intellect, they spark the imagination, they inspire self-confidence, construct hope, ignite passion. Teachers also equip our young people with essential tools like literacy and numeracy and information and an array of facts to allow them to navigate the world and hopefully inspire them to higher learning after they leave your classrooms. The last 2 years have had a sharp impact on education globally. All of the literature discloses the many challenges countries worldwide are experiencing, including the big and powerful nations with humongous resources. The Bahamas, too, has experienced negative impact, particularly as it relates to children coming from vulnerable communities plagued with social and economic woes. But if we are honest, and I think the time is overdue for us to be honest about where we are, We have experienced challenges in education long before a pandemic and despite natural disasters like Dorian. The indicators are there. At the outset, let me also say that many of our young people have done exceedingly well, and we are proud of them and most impressed at their achievements. But at the same time, too many of our children have been leaving our schools underdeveloped and struggling. This is not a simple issue, and there are many systemic factors which lead to these outcomes at various levels. We cannot carry on with business as usual. The theme for this conclave is shifting paradigms, embracing change, and innovation in education. I believe this hits the nail on the head. We must analyze and rethink education at every stage of the spectrum, in policy and in practice. We must refine the processes in the delivery of education, the methodologies, the curriculum, the efficiency or lack thereof of the bureaucracy, channels of communication at every level, and most especially to you in the classroom. I believe some of this work is already underway, but the agenda is urgent, and our reform must be accelerated. I know that you who daily encounter and interact with the subjects of this enterprise, our nation's young people, are on the front line of education. You are the crystallized presence. I know that teaching is high intensity, hard work, and many of you experience frustration or even feelings of being burnt out. I'm advised that one of the sessions that will be led by the Employee Assistance Program, which seeks to emphasize the fundamental importance of your own sense of well-being. That is key. A survey was recently undertaken of our teachers nationwide in the public sector at the instance of a committee that I requested to review the factors which influence the morale of teachers or lack thereof. I want you only to know that we hear you, I hear you, and efforts are underway to respond to many of the concerns, observations, and suggestions that came from you. I thank all of those who participated in that survey throughout the country. But fellow teachers, well, I'm not a teacher, but to the teachers, now is the time. And if the pandemic was to have any positive whatsoever, and it's hard to find one, it's been rough, but if it were to have one, it is that it has forced us to stop and reflect on where we are, and to cause us to seek redefinition of the process of education. Some of this work is underway. The curriculum is being reformed, and in this regard, we invite your observations on these changes. A new modern Bahamian history text is underway. An enhanced physical education and creative arts curriculum is under construction. Many of you were in coding workshops over the summer. Several of our schools are under major physical redevelopment with much more to go. Safety and security on campus is being given high priority. We are seeking to encourage greater parental participation and raising public awareness of the necessity to support our schools, our teachers, and the entire educational enterprise. Career paths are being developed, enhanced professional training, recent salary increases, and enhanced benefits. We have sought to hire more teachers to address deficits in key subject areas. We are completing an RFP process to measure learning loss and develop accelerated learning programs to help our young people who suffered fallout in the virtual regime. We are in the process of engaging an IT specialist, a consultant, to assist us with ironing out the kinks of the LMS. And I take this opportunity to apologize to you for any frustration you may have experienced with this system. We will improve it. Yesterday, training began for some 25 attendance officers drawn from the COVID-19 surveillance officers, as a major thrust to ensure attendance of school-age children. To the teachers of this nation, the key to change and true progress in our nation is through education. I just want to repeat that. The key to change and true progress in our nation is through education. As I've said previously, the critical stakeholders in education cannot continuously be at odds. We must find ourselves solidly on the same page. There is no place for cynicism at any level. We cannot afford it. The stakes are too high. I invite you to look around in our country. We are the agents of true nation building, and our country is counting on us. We only have to love our country and be prepared to fight for its future. Before I end, I wish to remember someone who I never knew, but who I am learning about so poignantly in the aftermath of her death, Talia Cooper, a young, newly recruited teacher from the University of the Bahamas, who died, I'm told, in her sleep on the second day of orientation for new teacher recruits. I spoke to her lovely parents a few days ago, Kevin and Hope Cooper. Her mother is also an educator. What an inspiring account of a courageous Bahamian woman who, despite huge health challenges, prepared herself to impart her life's energies to the children of this nation. May I invite all of us to have a moment of silence. I believe her courage and will and her indomitable spirit is reflected in so many of our teachers. This is the amazing thing. Please know that I support you in your work. I am grateful for your contribution to our national development. I was grateful long before I came here. Let us join hands. I wish you the best. I thank you for all you have given and continue to give to our nation. We will meet again soon, as I hope, as I seek to ensure our connectivity as we move forward. May this be, with God's help, your best year ever as we shift the paradigm by embracing change and innovation in education. One people, united in love and service. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Martin, for those inspiring words. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to take on anything this school year after that, knowing that Ms. Martin will be behind us 100%. It has been a pleasure to serve as your moderator for this morning's ceremony. I thank you, and I look forward to, again, our most innovative school year ever as we shift our collective way of thinking and embrace change in educating our leaders and innovators of tomorrow. I call now Ms. Deputy Director, Ms. Sharon Poitier, with our vote of thanks. Thank you.
There are two kinds of gratitude: the sudden kind we feel for what we take, and the larger kind we feel for what we give. Edwin Arlington Robinson. Today, I'm confident that we feel the larger kind of gratitude. For we, all of us this morning, here for such a time as this, have been given the opportunity to do our part in impacting and influencing the lives of students, either directly or indirectly. For this role, we are grateful. We pause now to say thank you to our moderator, Ms. Brennan, for leading us so skillfully through this program. Thank you for being an excellent moderator. To Mrs. Yasmin Newbold, thank you for the beautiful rendition of our national anthem, leading our pledge, and of course, warming our hearts with that wonderful selection, beautifully reminding us of the goodness of God. Director of Education, Dr. Marcellus Taylor, for your warm words of welcome and your inspiring remarks. To Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Lorraine Ambrister, for your heartfelt remarks and for your introduction of our ministers. Minister of State, the Honorable Zane Lightburn, thank you for your remarks and for introducing the Minister of Education, Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin. Minister, we thank you. We thank you for your infectious passion, your commitment to the children of this nation, and for your charge. We've heard it, we are grateful for it, and we pledge to do all we can to execute and implement it. Thank you, Communications Division, for ensuring that teachers throughout the archipelago are allowed participation in the program. We thank you for your diligence and your commitment. Thank you, Assistant Director Therese Curry and team, for organizing this two-day event. Thank you, Director, Deputy Directors, Assistant Directors of Education, and Curriculum Officers for the work that you will do with our teachers. And finally, thank you, teachers, for answering the call, not only to impart knowledge, but to be role models who share values and positive attitudes. Thank you for the role that you will play in shaping the next generation. Thank you for your willingness to serve, your willingness to shift paradigms, embrace change, and be one of the key change agents in our quest to transform the education system in the Bahamas. Thank you so very much.
Good morning, and thank you again, Dee Poitier, for that wonderful vote of thanks. As we go into our second segment of the morning, I want to just give a quick announcement to all of our participants. We're going to take a quick break, so we're going to ask you to log off. We're going to use that time, that 10 minutes break, to make sure that we have all of our accessibility features in place. We do have some teachers from the deaf unit who are on this morning. We have some persons from our Cuban hires who are on. And so we want to add the closed captioning for them to ensure everyone is engaged in the sessions this morning. So we're going to log off, go offline for 10 minutes, and at 10 a.m., we will all return back to that same web link that you have for the Zoom. Thank you, everyone.
Dream of heaven tonight. Spending a little more time now with the things that mean a little bit more. I'm noticing the wonders of this world. Love with a little more